Hey there, this is my monthly minute. I want to start doing this every month, and it's going to be just a little longer than a minute, but I want to keep it brief. I want to give you a recap of some of the things that have taken place in the previous month, but also give you a heads up on some of the things that are coming down the pipe as things that you want to be aware of. So January was an exciting month. The three of us, Jessica Egbert, Theron Garrett, and myself, we were elected to be on the City Council in November. So we were sworn in on the first week of January. That's very exciting. And I look forward to serving not only with those other two council members, but also Reed Carlson and Jim Lundberg. We will be meeting our City Council meetings the first and third Wednesday of every month. Now, historically, we've been meeting at 7 p.m., but we are moving that to 6 p.m. starting February 5th. So make note of that if you're interested. Make note of that time change and the schedule change. We did have one City Council meeting in January. I want to give you a few highlights of that meeting. One of the things that was reviewed that you'll want to be aware of is the review of the general plan survey. Y2 Analytics was there, as well as Landmark Engineering, to review some of the results of the survey, and I'm including the link to the survey results for your review. When I asked the engineer what was unique about this experience with Mapleton, because they've done this in many, many cities, without hesitation, he said, it is very unusual for a city to be so clear on what's important to them. In our case, that is open space, and we know trails is a part of that. And he said it's very clear that your city wants a very different type of park system. So I'm very excited to see where that leads us. And I would have to agree with that. It's open space, it's open space and trails, and that can look like a lot of different things. So I'm very excited about that. Now, the other thing that we did vote on is we gave approval to the Public Works Director, Stephen Lord, to start collecting bids to accomplish the road maintenance needs. As you know, our roads in Mapleton are in dire need of attention. So we've been collecting that road fee for the last 3 years, and there are some projects as priorities. Those conversations will be forthcoming. Comes with a price tag. And so we've got to decide how we are going to pay for that, and how we're going to prioritize the road needs, not just immediately, but in the long term, to make sure that they are properly maintained over time. Now, as City Council members, we're given different assignments, and one of my assignments is to work with the City Manager, the Mayor, and the Finance Director on the personnel and budget. So I'm increasingly more involved in that, and I look forward to exploring that. But as you know, we have limited dollars and unlimited needs and wants. So to put it a different way, we have a lot of needs and must-haves and some wants that are wrestling for a very limited supply of dollars, and we want to be very prudent with how we prioritize that. So please get engaged, ask questions on those topics. And you're always welcome to reach out to me or any of our council members or city staff on those questions, but I want you to be aware of that. Now, the one thing that's coming that you need to be aware of, we share, as you may know, we share the sewer treatment plant with Spanish Fork. We own 26.4% capacity in the Spanish Fork sewer treatment plant. So I want to tell you what's coming down the pipe. It might be the sewer pipe, but it's coming down the pipe. The EPA has implemented some regulations for sewer treatment, and the plant that we are currently utilizing with Spanish Fork does not meet those requirements. And so there are some regulatory upgrades that have to be made to that plant. We're not the only city affected. You can check with your family or friends in other cities, and they're dealing with this issue as well. But specific to our plant, we have, with the upgrades to our system, so as we upgrade to meet the federal regulations, there will also be some upgrades to capacity. So currently, the plant is a 6 million gallon per day plant. The new one, it will be phased in. The new one will be an 8 million gallon a day plant. With the full build out, will take us up to 12 million gallons per day. So with the build out and our current percentage of ownership of that capacity, we will have sufficient capacity for our build out needs here in Mapleton. Now, as you know, we share a percentage of that plant. So any cost to upgrade that plant, we do own a proportional share of that. So our proportional share of the cost of that upgrade is going to be in the range of about $12 to $15 million. It's a lot of money. And when you think of our city budget being an annual budget between $5 and $6 million, that money's got to come from somewhere. Now, those details are still being worked out on how that gets paid for, what the bond terms are, how those details work out. So that's something to be watching for and listening for. One thing that we do know is that there will be an increased cost for each household to cover the cost of the sewer upgrades. The EPA regulations, the meeting those regulations and the upgrade. So I want you to be aware of that. There will be some adjustments needed to your household budget. The dollar amounts, we don't have those details yet, but be aware of those conversations in the coming months. They will be the more specific numbers will be discussed in a public forum through our city council meetings. So you'll certainly be aware of that. But I want you to know that it's coming and be thinking about some of the questions that you have. Now, the timeline, here's a timeline for you to be aware of. The new plant needs to be operational by January 2025. So we have 5 years for it to be operational. The design will be complete in early 2021, so in a year. Construction should begin end of 2021, 2022. But that means we have to make some decisions here in the coming months in early 2020. So watch out for that. Now, one of the questions I have for you, your feedback is really important to me. Many of the cities have, Spanish Fork, for example, has already started to implement an increase to their sewer fee. It's a small incremental charge to build up money to pay for their portion of the plant. The other option is to not do any increases until we have to start paying for it. That means your budget won't see an incremental increase. Your budget would see an immediate increase, but it would be at some point in the future. I'm curious to know and there's pros and cons to both. There's arguments to both. I'm curious to know what your thoughts are, if adequate time and heads up on that increase are sufficient, and then we just start at a certain appointed time, or do you like that incremental increase? As always, I'm interested in your feedback. Feel free to respond to this email if you're getting this on email. Respond to the thread on Facebook. You can message me on Facebook. My number is 801-310-6580. I'm happy to answer any questions.